Are we doing it?
Yes, right now. We started on prostitute.
Oh, okay. I played a lot of prostitutes, but I've really been looking into, like, what is my career, what does it consisted of?
What does it consist of?
And last
Stay
night,
right here. Stay right where
I
you are.
wanted to put some makeup on you.
Well, later we'll do that.
Okay. All right.
So tell me about the
Okay.
book.
So, well, you know, it's like when it says Sharon Farrell, Hollywood Princess from Sioux City, Iowa, by Sharon Farrell with Jesse D. Young. Well, this is a guy that I was like living with.
Really?
And he's like a screenwriter. And he was like, he's the same guy that's giving me all these problems that I'm having. It's like, last night I said to him, well, I want to get something from him, you know. I said, well, what do you like about me? Why are you with me? Tell me one good thing about me. And he says, I said, just make something up. You know, it doesn't even have to be real. Just tell, I just need to hear something. And he said, well, you're a good actress and you're good in bed.
And that was it?
And then he said, no, you're great in bed. He said, you haven't been given the great roles. So I can't call you a great actress because in the Reavers, you know, the car, it's Steve McQueen and the little boy and you know, any girl could have done it, really. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The girls' roles are just inconsequential. I can't pronounce that word, but you know what I mean. But that same year, you did Marlowe with James Garner, and I was 10 pounds thinner. I was playing a nasty, mean, conniving girl who gets her brother killed and who goes after her sister, and she's just nasty and mean. And that was it was from Raymond Chandler's The Little Sister.
The Little Sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got and you know, James Garner is always wonderful. He's a good actor.
Another underrated actor.
Yes, really. Well, he you know, he's such a wonderful personality. I've never really seen him do anything other than James Garner, but that's enough. I mean, have you ever?
Well, you're right. I mean, like John Wayne was John Wayne.
Yeah,
Robert Mitchum was
nothing
Robert
wrong.
Mitchum.
Well, I don't know. You remember when he did that? When he had his, he had love on one hand and hate on the other, and he was so evil.
Robert
and then he'd
De Niro
turn around.
did the remake, and it wasn't as good.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't as good.
Well, I think it was the writing, or it might have been the direction, because Robert De Niro is brilliant, I think. I like, you know.
He is a good actor.
Yeah. A lot of them are personalities, and they kind of
Let's talk
squish
about
by.
your book.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, it's like...
What is it about?
Oh, well, it's called Sharon Farrell, Hollywood Princess from Sioux City, Iowa. And basically, I came here, and I was like, you know, I did work in New York, I did plays, I did summer stock. I was brought out here by Bob Hope, and at the time, I was like hot in New York. They wanted me to understudy Elizabeth Ashley in a thing that she was doing with Robert Redford.
Was that?
Run in the Park, or Barefoot in the Park.
Barefoot in the Park.
They wanted me to understudy that. They wanted me to do a soap opera, All My Children or something. And I was offered, what do you call it? That thing that Sally Struthers did. She did it so well, All in the Family.
All in the Family. Oh, they wanted you for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have been great.
Yeah, but the thing of it, and I said, well, I can't do a New York accent. And Carol Connor said, don't worry about that. You'll be able to do that easy. Don't worry. We'll work on that. And it was a pilot at the time. And then the Reavers came up with Steve McQueen. Well, what would you do? You'd take the Reavers, you know? But they were like, you know, like Cinema Center Films was being sold to somebody else.
Now, let me just stop you there, because now it turned out to be one of the great classics of all television.
All
it was
in
a break.
Family.
Yes, I mean, it broke all the racial grounds and you know, all the offshoots for the black people, you know, African Americans. Now, how did you feel about it afterwards? What did you feel like when you didn't do it?
Every time I'd see Carol Connors, he'd say, I told you so. Every time. Absolutely every time. He was kind of mad at me because I don't know, but it's like I just, you know, I wanted to do movies. I thought movies were it. You know, it's like in New York, it's the theater. And then, you know, the theater, you don't want to do these little, you don't want to do U.S. Steel Hour, you don't want to do those things, you want to do theater. And then you come out here and you put down everything in LA, like, oh, LA sucks, everything sucks, I got to get myself back to New York. But you know, it's like you get shows here, they pay you money, and it's like you got a car, and if you go shopping, you can throw your stuff in the car. You don't have to carry it. In New York, you got to carry everything for blocks. So I don't know. So I don't know. California it's kind of sucks you in with the weather, and being from Sioux City, Iowa, where the snow's like sometimes that deep, you know, it's like I don't know. I liked California. And then the guy that I loved at the time was in California doing a series too, Andy Prine. He was here, and everybody I knew in New York was coming to California. So I don't know, I didn't go back to New York. And also in New York, I starved to death. I mean, I just starved to death. And I had all kinds of part-time jobs, and you know, I didn't, you know, I went to Cuba, and when I came back from Cuba, doing that movie with Elaine Stritch and Steve Hill, Kiss Her Goodbye, and Andy was in that, and he got me started. And I remember the acting teacher, Paul E. Richards. Do you remember Paul E. Richards?
Not really.
And Barbara Klein. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah, I think I have heard Klein, yes.
Anyway, they were members of the Actors Studio, and he, you know, he like was a cool, you know, dark-haired Jewish guy, and he could play these wimpy little nasty characters, you know.
Andrew, you're talking about?
No, not Andrew. That Paul E. Richards.
Paul E. Richards, okay.
But Andrew was always Andrew should have been a big, huge star.
He should have.
You know, he was an underrated actor, but he got blackballed. You know, it's like that happens. You know,
he got blackballed. Really?
Oh, that whole Karen Kupferman murder and everything, and he's the kind of guy that it's like if there was a moth in the place, he'd capture it and put it outside. Yeah. He's not a vindictive, cruel person at all. There's no way he you know, but he was sucked into all of that, and you know, and he was very much of a coxman. And I don't know if he still is or not, but
what's a coxman?
You know, someone who just goes after every woman they see.
Oh.
You know, I mean, he really did, but he couldn't help it. You know, he just couldn't help himself.
Men can't help it. I know that.
You know, some you know, they just can't help it, and but he's a brilliant actor. He was a very, very good actor, and but this book. This is the thing. I started writing this book. I really started because when I got back here from Fiji, I finally gotten into my house, and I fell. I didn't fall. I jumped down. I found I had planted a little lilac bush, and after 12 years, I mean, it was a great big huge tree full of lilacs, and I was ripping the lilacs off, and I jumped from. It was a ledge about that high. I just jumped down from there, and I went into a gopher hole, and I couldn't even move. I mean, my leg wouldn't work, and I couldn't get anybody or anything else, and finally I crawled into the house, and I called, I was going to AA during the time because I was so broke. I would go there, I would go to any AA meeting that served coffee and cookies and food. I would go to AA meetings. And also they would help me. They helped me move, you know, and everybody's addicted to something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, you know, AA is, well, I went to Landmark Forum for a while, and what is Landmark Forum but AA without God? You know, you've never been to a bunch of AA meetings, right? Well, I don't know. There was a craze where everybody was going to AA meetings, so I know that they'll help you. They do take care of their own. Whereas the Motion Picture Hospital doesn't always do that. Anyway, so I fell, and an ambulance came, and a fire truck came, and about 4 cops came. There were 17 men in my house.
You must have been
and they were going through everything. They thought I had drugs because
really?
Somebody, my sponsor, told them that I was trying to commit suicide.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think I said something like, I called her and I said, I really need your help. She said, well, I have to go get the hairdresser. I'll come over after. I said, I'm laying here on the floor. I can't move. I need you to help me. She said, well, for my sobriety, I have to have my hair done, and I will be right over. And I said, I'm going to kill myself. You're the worst sponsor in the whole world. Well, you never say that. Anyway, so all these cops and ambulances and all these people showed up, and they hauled me off to West Hills Hospital. They gave me, I'm allergic to this fake morphine, this dilaudid it's DIALUD or something like that. I hallucinate. I see things. I go crazy. I mean, I thought they were after me. So they didn't come near me, and they left. They tied me up in a straitjacket, and they sent me to a nut house in Encino. They sent me to this Encino Medical Center, and I was in this nut house. I'm in this nut house, and I'm seeing psychiatrists are coming in, and they're telling me I'm bipolar, I'm this, I'm that. Meanwhile, I can't do anything with my leg for a month anyway, and I'm getting fed. You know, they're feeding me.
Yeah.
And I get a bath every 3 days. I get a bath. For water, you have to bang on the walls to get them to get you some water. But they were, the nurses, there was this one nurse there, this male nurse that was going on the internet and finding out who I was, and I don't know, he just kind of really hurt my feelings. I said, please don't do that, you know? Yeah, I mean, because I was in such, I was like in such bad shape. And I had these sores all over my back, and, you know, because they weren't taking care of me and the thing, because I'm allergic to that dilaudin, and it makes your tongue swell up, it makes your eyes, you know, made my eyes yellow, and they had to, like, give me a shot to keep me from choking, and, I mean, all kinds of stuff like this was going on. So, but this nurse in this mental hospital was abusing me. When I took a shower, he'd slip his little finger in there. He would do things like that. And it's like, I had a roommate, and my roommate was in there because she asked a friend, well, how many Valiums would you have to take to kill yourself? And it's 15. Don't ever take 15 Valiums, okay? And don't ever say, I want to kill myself. Don't ever say that, because your friends will they'll just come and get you and take you off.
How long ago was this?
This was, you know, like last year.
Really?
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't. It was before I met Jetsy, because I've been working on this 3 years, and this is in next year in July. It'll be going on 4 years working on it, and I got so mad that this could happen. I mean, I saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I did a movie called The Fifth Floor where I was institutionalized, and I thought all that stuff was just corny and awful. I mean, Bo Hopkins was raping me in that movie, and it was like, but that's what they do.
I know.
They do that in there.
I know.
How do you know that?
When I was from 14 to 16, I was in the mental institution in New York. I got in a fight, and they sent me to Bellevue, and then I fought again. They started this new program up there in Central Islip State Hospital. This was 1955, and it's funny when you say Cuckoo's Nest. When I was watching him in the movie, when they're interviewing him,
yeah, and
they're calling him all this, that was exactly me. And I said, wow.
And it looks like they're doing too much. It looks like, you know, this couldn't possibly happen. But it's worse. I mean, it's even cornier what they can do.
Yeah,
I mean, they won't give you water. They torture you with little things. They won't let you make any phone calls. When people call, they say, oh, well, she's sleeping.
Well, this was in the 50s, and it was even worse.
Oh, I'll bet. What were your accommodations? Did they stick you in with a bunch of other people?
They did when you got in trouble, and.
Or were you isolated?
No, I wasn't isolated. We were all like young teenagers. They had.
Oh, that's rough too, because those kids are nasty.
Well, I was a nasty guy.
You were the nasty one. You were the bully and the nasty one.
I wasn't a bully.
You were the tough guy.
I was never a bully, but I never backed down from anybody. And because one time I got in trouble and they put me down where all the real crazies were.
Oh, that'll shape you up
the
fast.
The smell and this and that.
Oh, they poo all over themselves. Yeah, it's awful.
I remember I was waiting in line to get my food, and the girl put my food with her hands in the tray, and I took the tray and I threw it at her. I said, do I look like I'm crazy? And they put me in a straitjacket, like,
that'll make you crazy. They make you crazy.
The attendants,
you're in there for a while, you're crazy.
The attendants took me in the shower, and I know they were going to give me a beating, so I told them right to their face, you better kill me, because when I come out of this, I'm going to kill you. And they never bothered me after that. I got to run out of the place after that, because they knew I was dead serious, and they
And you meant it. And also you're a good actor, so you could say, watch, you know what I mean? Somebody can give a delivery where they're really, I know, but you have that depth.
You were talking about acting and prime. Now, one of the first scenes I ever did at the Actors Studio was about Gary Gilmore from the Executioner song, the one that was executed in Utah. And I was doing the actual letters that he wrote in the book. And I did the scene, and it was the first time I was there. And I never forget Andrew when he said, you know, I came in here and I saw you up on the stage there, and I'm thinking, oh, what the hell is this going to be like? And he says, wow, you really surprised me. And I always remember that, the encouragement that he gave me as an actor.
Yeah.
You know,
and Andrew's a very nice human being. He really is.
He really is. We're friends to this day.
He was very nice. The thing of it is, though, is that, see, Actors Studio, I feel like I've got enemies over there. I feel like they'd kick me out. They'd blackball me. I mean, I think Marty Landau would blackball me. I think Mark Rydell would definitely blackball me. And I'm thinking, like, my relationship with Mark Rydell and Steve McQueen on the Reavers, I was in between these two guys because they were like, you know, Mark Rydell was married. His girlfriend was Neil Adams, and Steve McQueen took her away from him. And you know, they had this thing going on for years. And then I show up on the movie, and Mark Rydell, God, first day I'm shooting, I'm losing a baby. I get bad cramps, and by 12 noon, I have a little fetus in my hand. It's about smaller than my fist. But I have this little fetus in my hand. I'm fine after that, but I screwed, you know, Mark was shooting this one scene over and over and over again, you know, and it was just nothing. But it's like, he came to me and he said, I don't have anything in the can, you know, and he said, well, could you do me a favor, you know, because we have to have this picture over the bed of, you know, where Lucius comes in and there's this sexy woman over the bed, and you know, for us to be able to have to hire a model and all this stuff, why don't you, you know, you're all dressed in the costume and everything, why don't you come in? I was so scared I was going to lose the job. I said yes. So I go in, and the photographer says she should have body makeup. You know, this is not right. She should have somebody here helping her. All of a sudden there was a room full of men, and he had me on this table and he was ripping my clothes off and exposing my breasts for this picture. He said, well, it's not going to be your face or anything. We just need, you know, we just need your body. We just need shots of your body. Well, I'm like from Sioux City, Iowa. At that time, I screwed around a lot. And I had a lot of boyfriends because Bruce Lee, Steve, everybody else. And I mean, I was never, you know, I was always very sexual. But being treated like that, he really made me feel like a whore. I was playing a whore, but he really stripped me of my dignity. And there was like blood all over the place.
Could he have been looking for that in the character?
You know, he might have. You know, he may have been, because
as a good director, sometimes
he's the kind of person who could rip you up a little bit and then have you use it on the thing. Right. But you know something, I don't really need that.
Okay, but I mean, maybe he didn't know that.
But I'll tell you something. The next day, when Steve walked in, he said, "What happened?" And then Steve did this whole thing about, you know, you're a street fighter. You're not a you're book smart. You're not book smart. You're street smart. You got a space around you like of 3 feet, and nobody should be able to like mess with you in that area. You couldn't have that, you know. And I just fell apart. I just cried and fell apart. And I was afraid of Mark. I was afraid of him. And Mark had hired everybody from Actors Studio on that film. Everybody was from Actors Studio on that film. And he said, now you've got to promise me, Sharon, that you will listen to me and you won't listen to Steve. Well, by that time I was having an affair with Steve. Who would you listen to? Steve McQueen was the producer of the show. He had the money. And it's like, Mark had been mean to me. You know, so I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Mark Rydell always scared me. And I think a lot of it is, and see, I had an agent, Sharon DeBoard, who at the time
was my agent.
Mine too!
Sharon DeBoard.
Yeah.
She's with Walter
I
Bickel
loved
Jennings.
her. I loved her. Jack Elam. They got Jack Elam going again.
Sharon, she got me. That's how I got into Actors Studio, because of her.
Really?
She recommended me for Mike Gazzo's play.
Oh my gosh, she's a doll.
I'll Facebook you. I'm a friend.
Yeah, that's
Sharon
how I found her
my
too.
first agent. I asked you if you knew Walter Bickel Jennings. She was one of the agents. And
I didn't know that person. Oh, that was the person who owned it.
Right.
But they were never.
Sharon, she used to be on General Hospital and all that.
She the first day she was
Sharon,
in the
we're
Reavers.
going to send this. I'm going to send this.
She was in the Reavers, and she spent like a whole day in bed with Steve McQueen, and then she started up with Mark again. And she loves Mark. I mean, as much as I am afraid and hate him, she just thinks he's the sweetest, most generous, wonderful